What up, y'all? Back again. So today I just wanted to throw this out there because I'm just getting off work, and I got stuff to do. I gotta go to bed, y'all. But I wanted to tell you about this because I was reading about it last night, and it was kind of like interesting. But in relation to, there was a parable told in the Bible in regards to the rich man, and he had, I don't know if they were like servants or workers, basically, but he was going on vacation or some sort of trip, and the idea was that he gave each of the three servants or workers or whatever, he gave one of them 5 talents, and then he gave another one 2 talents, and then he gave another one 1 talent. And so he left them with the land, and then he went on his trip or whatever, and when he came back, he called for them and wanted to see how they invested. And so don't take this the wrong way. This is not word for word, y'all know that. So I'm paraphrasing, but in the parable, he comes back from his trip or whatever, and he wanted to see how well they invested. And so the guy who had 5 talents, he doubled his talents. So he was able to give the rich man, like, hey, I got 10 talents, or whatever. And so the rich man was like, well, good, thou faithful servant, and then there was the guy who had 2 talents, and he came to the rich man, and he gave him he said, I invested, and basically had he had 4 talents. So he was like, good, thou faithful servant, but then the guy that had 1 talent, he came to him with his 1 talent. And he was like, I know you could be a hard, like, taskmaster or something like that. And he was like, so, and you can kind of like, basically, you can get crop where nobody can gain a crop, is kind of like the idea. Let's just go with that. But that was kind of how it is. Like, you can reap where, people can't even reap, a harvest or whatever. And so I pretty much was afraid, and so I went ahead and buried my 1 talent. So here's your 1 talent back. And so, what the rich man kind of called him, like a sloth or something. And he said he took his talent and he gave it to the guy with 5 talents, because he knew that he could give it into the hands of him and he would invest it and double up on it. Or what Chum Lee would say on Pawn Stars, the double bubble. But anyway, so to be back on track, he cast them into utter darkness, and that's where you hear that scripture where it talks about where there was utter darkness and gnashing of teeth. And we all know what that is. I mean, that's hell, that's a bad place, where there's utter darkness with gnashing of teeth, and so I guess my point is to the parable, the whole meaning to the parable that Jesus told. It's Matthew like 24:15, I think it is, or 24:14. But he's basically getting at that while you're here on earth, make sure that you do your best to invest in yourself, and to be able to also invest in the people around you that you can reach, reach with your goodness, with the gospel, and with salvation. And but when it comes to, my point also was that when it comes to the narcissist, it's almost like, you know, we're trying to grow, right? And especially when we wake up to narcissism, we're like really like trying to root down, understand, you know, now we're understanding about our childhood and where we came from, what we came out of, and things are starting to clear up for us finally. You know, I'm 48 years old, man, you know, and you know, I just woke up to this stuff a few years ago. And I guess my point is like, we're hungry to, you know, like mature, man, like in a real way, to where it was unbeknownst to us, you know, we were in the dark. We were good individuals, but we were hemmed up in folly, man, repeatedly, because we didn't have the whole picture to the puzzle. You know, I talked about it like a couple weeks ago, where it's like you can have every piece of the puzzle, but the one piece that we were missing was the big piece in the middle, man. In the middle of the puzzle, it was like missing, or it was filled with a lie. And when we woke up to narcissism, it's like that. You know, it's like it got plugged in. That piece got plugged in, and it showed a whole different picture from what that fake piece to the puzzle that was there. It never looked right. It always looked crooked. It didn't look like it fit. It looked twisted. It looked upside down sometimes and inside out, just like the narcissist, just like the enemy, Satan. Okay, and so these narcissists that we've been dealing with all our life and knocking us off track all the time, right? And all we've done was come at them with a pure heart, you know? I mean, out of all the times we were upset and angry, it was almost never like we always were. We were always on point with the narcissist, even, and that's crazy, you know. And you know, you tried with them so many times. That's not my point. My point is that the narcissist is the one with the one talent that gets cast out into utter darkness with gnashing of teeth and utter darkness. I'm not saying that, you know, there isn't some hope for them to survive and to, you know, have some sort of, you know, God to have them a way out. But come on, man, we all know, like, if there is a way out for them, it's a very, very, very small door that I don't even know of a case that even makes sense, that's real. And I've searched. And so, but they're the ones with the one talent, right? That it's not even how many talents you have. That's not the point. The point was whatever you have as a talents, you should be able to, at minimum, God is saying you should be able to double up on them. It doesn't matter if you had one or if you had 2 or 5 talents. It's obvious because the guy with 5 talents doubled up, and that was awesome. That was all he expected. Okay, and the guy that had 2 talents, he doubled up, and that was what was expected of him. We are all different people innately, and so that was what you know, God recommended for them, you know, for them to be good and faithful servants. So the guy with 1 talent, if he would have just came back with 2, he would have been just as worthy and as given and given that title as good and faithful servant. But instead he buried it. And this is what the narcissist did. Because what did he do? This is the guy with the 1 talent. He feared. He was afraid. And this is what happened with the narcissist. Because, see, we all grew up in the same household, right? But so the narcissist, they were given love just as much as we were, as far as the ability to have it. They were given the ability to love just as much as we did. You know, but they, out of fear, cast it down. They buried it. And when they go to God, you know, we all have a measure of love. Some of us more than others, okay? But that, I believe, is our innate spirit. I always say that. I think we're just really innate who we are and who we're always going to be. And we're not playing, but we're walking that out. Like, this is our court. Because when we're all said and done, we get judged for this right here. This is our evidence of what we get judged for when we leave this place. And so a lot of us are on a path to be, you know, the best individual that we can be for God and for man. That's what it's about. And the narcissist they've buried love, the one talent, or whatever measure that they could have been the one with the 5 talents. Who cares, right? That's not the point. But whatever talents they had, they buried them, and it started with them burying love, because they could have come out of whatever they were in with love. And so that's why we, as the empath in the family, have so much love, because you know what it did? Because when you get treated bad, some of us, we doubled up and tripled up, quadrupled up, you know, and cinco seis that love. And that's why we are so, the narcissist is so drawn to us, because that hate, it just breeded more love in us, man. And they could have done the same thing, and that's my point. From the damage that was done to them, they could have did the same thing we did, and they chose not to. And it is what it is. But I just wanted to go over that because the narcissist doesn't go after other people. They don't go after people that didn't grow up in these families. They go after the ones that did, and the ones that survived it, and doubled up, tripled up, and quadrupled and cinco seis their love, man. They don't go after people that are normies. I mean, maybe they wouldn't put up with some of this, but the other part is they don't have that amount of love either, you know. And so they really don't have an excuse, man. And it's not for us to judge, but I always like to say, I'm not judging, I'm just discussing, because some things that are hard to talk about, they need to be talked about. And so I just want to say that, because my heart is pure in the conversation about it. I'm not trying to I'm trying to be non-biased in this, but I mean, some may think I'm being partial, and maybe unbeknownst to me I am, but I don't think so. I'm trying to look at these things when I go over them with a pure heart. And so that's my point to all this, is just, you know, what we decided to do was out of the goodness, out of the bottom of our heart. And it's not, you know, this is the thing. We were always going to become what we became, you know, because God is outside of time. And I'm not saying not to try. You need to work hard every day, because we are the ones that are active in this reality. But God knows. He knows. He's outside of time, and he knows the beginning from the end already. And so, you know, like, when you go through this, it not only changes you, but it also makes you understand that God, He loves you, man. And through all this, it's like he's still looking out for you. So that's why he says, fear not. Fear not, for I am with you. And, you know, that's all I have for you today. And until next time, soldier up, y'all. Peace. We out.